I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
The notice requirements of the New Jersey Public Meetings Law have been satisfied by forwarding the news release to the Federal Press on December 17, 2015, stating that a regular meeting of the ToCN Township Committee will be held on May 11, 2016, at 7:30 p.m. Town Hall. The notice requirements have been posted on the Township website, and a copy is on file in the office of the Township Clerk.
Roll call.
Committeeman McNabb,
Here.
Committeeman Bartolomeo,
Here.
Mayor Orko.
Here. All right, first we have a proclamation tonight for Police Week, May 15th through the 21st, this coming week. Everybody's out busy next door, but I just checked a few minutes ago. Anyhow, Mayor's Proclamation, Police Week, May 15th through May 21st, 2016. Whereas Congress and the President of the United States have designated the week of Sunday, May 15th, 2016 through Saturday, May 21st, 2016 as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the Township of ToCN Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the Township of ToCN. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties and responsibilities and hazards and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agencies recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas members of the ToCN Police Department increasingly provide a vital public service now. Therefore, I, Mayor Thomas Orko of the ToCN Township Committee, proclaim that the week of May 15, 2016 through May 21st, 2016 is designated as Police Week in the Township of ToCN, and call upon all citizens and patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe this week for appropriate ceremonies and observances which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to the community, and in so doing have established for themselves an inevitable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all its citizens. That's why we're having a unity trip this week, right? Yep. And did you not tell me that one of the police officers got hurt tonight?
Somebody got my car.
No, not one of ours, really. All right, we're going to skip over the capital ordinance because we have to wait for one more Township Committee person to get in. So we're going to go to Resolution 2016-65. Resolution authorizing the award of a bid for 2016 Road Improvement Program, Phase 1, for $828,313.13. The vendor is Earl Asphalt. Low bidder was Earl Asphalt. It's a good bid as far as the township goes. We'll be able to save money, and then we'll start on the second phase. That'll go out to bid, the next 3 weeks, the second section? Yeah. I don't have the list here, it tells you which streets are going to get done in the first phase.
It's Larry, Newell, Brink, no, it's here. It's Larry, Newell, Brink, Big Beach, Fireside, Seedling, and Spruce.
Mayor, I was at the first aid meeting last night, a question was raised, that you have to be here, which is perfect timing, as how we deemed what roads were to be done and what roads were not to be done. So I inquired today with Kathleen, and to answer the question you asked last night, the roads were individually walked by Glenn Gherkin last year or the year before, is that correct?
Township engineer.
Township engineer. He then chose a list of streets that he felt were in dire straits, in dire need of repair. Then, Mayor Orko, Glenn Gherkin, and Ed Thompson went out individually and graded on a scale of say 1 to 30, the worst streets from the top down. And then they commingled those 3 lists and came up with the 10 worst streets. So it wasn't an individual's choice, it was a collective after they went through the process of coming up with their own answers on their own. So to answer your question, why are some roads done other than others? That was the process as explained.
With the exception of Leonard Road.
Leonard Road, that's a grant. We have to do that with DOT and everything. That's why this first section has to get done now.
Okay.
That was part, they gave us 300 or 240 or whatever it was.
So 2 point, and the one piece, if I can interject, is once we knew how much money was available, it was with that information,
You have to
and they went back,
making,
and then coming.
make it fit too.
Right. And now that we did the first part out, we're gonna see what other streets, we can do more streets now than we had originally hoped to do. So the list is gonna get tighter and tighter, and we have curbs we gotta do that we're also promised that, gotta get done on this. 2.2? 2.2 million.
2.24.
Yeah, the 240 was the grant money that we got from the state, so it's only $2 million. Now we've got, we just got notice that we're gonna get Stone Hill Road done, and the state is gonna give us 300 for next year. So we're gonna do that. So we'll have to do something there as far as that goes.
Can I comment now, though, or?
No, public.
Again.
Thank you.
Question.
Thank you.
The phone's not ringing yet. Resolution 2016-66.
Motion and second.
Moved on the,
Second one, bless you. Thanks.
Roll call.
Mayor McDowell?
yes.
Mayor Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Mayor Ordo?
Yes. Resolution 2016-66. This is authorizing the sale of municipal personal property through an online auction. This is going to take place May 21st through May 25th through us.gov bid. They do a lot of government work. They're doing Middletown right now and a couple of towns. You can get down and inspect the stuff on May 24th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Township Garage. And yeah, we've got
We have a lot of stuff.
a lot of stuff, a lot of police cars, trucks, pickups. I mean, Crown Vics, we've got 7 or 8 of them.
$120,000.
Yeah, so I mean, we're cleaning house. We're getting rid of a lot of some old mowers.
Hopefully make a couple bucks on the bill.
Yeah.
So that's that.
All right. We have a motion.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Mayor McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Mayor Ordo?
Yes. (2016-67) is a resolution authorizing the execution of the FAA lease on which towers?
This is actually the aviation deal on.
Oh, that's right. This is for the vortex over on Laird Road, up behind Laird Road baseball fields. And it's just, you want to tell me you got one more?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the good news is they started with $200 per year back in 2006. It was renegotiated for $1,000 a year, and this year we were hoping to get $4,000.
You quadrupled it?
I asked
For
them.
your superior
It
negotiating
took-
skills?
I think it was the third thing I did when I got here back in October, was call this guy. And it's taken until like a week ago for him to finally say, okay, you can get $4,000.
Up from 200, very good work, thank you.
Yeah, so,
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor McDowell?
Yes.
Mayor Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Mayor Ordo?
Yes.
Student consent agenda.
All right, motion to adopt consent agenda, all items on the consent agenda are considered routine by the township and are adopted or approved collectively by a single motion or roll call vote of a majority majority of the township committee. If discussion is desired on any item, is considered separately. Resolution 2016-68, resolution appointing registrar vital statistics, Ms. Ruth Leininger. Resolution 2000, hold up. Resolution 2016-69, resolution appointing deputy registrar vital statistics, Kathleen Capristo. Resolution 2016-70, resolution authorizing the fireworks display on July 3rd at Bucks Mill Park by the CNBA. Resolution 2016-71, a resolution authorizing the release of a cash performance guarantee and replaced with a letter of credit and cash guarantee of planning board application 719, block 19, lot 18, St. Mary's Church. Resolution 2016-72, resolution authorizing a refund of tax overpayment for 2016. Comments? Second. Roll call.
Lady Mariano,
Yes.
Lady Bartolomeo,
Yes.
Mayor Longfellow.
Yes. All right.
Mike, we're going back, okay?
All right.
Just let the record reflect the committee, Deputy Mayor Fitzgerald has called in and participated in the discussion of the next two ordinances.
Capital Ordinance 2016-9. Capital Ordinance providing for various capital improvements and the purchase of various capital equipment and appropriating $406,550, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Cold Snake and the County of Monmouth. And with that, we're going to be buying police vehicles, a mower, turnout gear for the fire department, a dump truck for the road department. Some of it's going to get spent on town hall for fixing the cupola and things. 20,800 for computer printers and upgrades for all departments. 6,500 for the sidewalk replacement at the first aid building. 17,000 for security improvements to the town hall and municipal equipment. $55,050 for purchase of police equipment. $15,000 to replace the fuel pump control board at the public works yard. $6,200 for purchase of a dual band radio. And $20,000 for minor road repairs to complement the road improvement projects. This is
This is
second.
Yeah. Second.
Comments?
It's a little over $400,000 discussed during budget time. These items have been vetted, discussed fairly thoroughly. I don't want anything further.
With that, I'll open it up to the public.
Just one question I'd like to ask. This is part of the bonding that was done, this is a separate?
This is no bonding at all. This is capital. We're going to pay as we go. We're just out of our budget. So we have to make this a capital rather than an online, a line item.
All that equipment for that amount, that's good. Good purchase. Very good.
Anybody else in the public?
How many police vehicles are you doing?
I think it's 4 this time.
Well, actually, yeah, it's for this time.
Right, we're buying 2 patrol cars,
Out of the capital.
right, 1 chief car.
And the pickup truck, yeah.
Yeah.
So two out of capital, 2 out of regular budget.
I think I saw a number of $127,000, so that's for 4 vehicles?
136.
136. Okay,
Oh, then maybe we decided to capitalize all of them.
I think we did.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we decided to capitalize all of them.
Right.
So it's 2 patrol vehicles, replacement for the chief's vehicle, and a pickup truck to replace their pickup truck that
Died last year.
Okay, so they're not in addition to what we have, they're replacing.
No, they rotate two patrol cars every year. They rotate every year. Yeah.
What's the life of, I'm sorry, what's the life of a patrol car?
125,000 miles.
Yeah, and if you look on the equipment that we're selling, you see all those cars are somewhere in 120,000 a month, 120,000 hard miles. You know, and then they're done.
Some of them get moved around, they go to the deputy, the detectives, they get them.
Right.
A lieutenant, they shuffle them around, but when they get to the point where they're not worth fixing anymore,
Right.
then we sell them.
Make a couple bucks and
Sometimes they get wrecked, you never know.
Thank you.
Yes,
What is the EMS of $6,200?
sidewalk.
No.
Oh, that was for a 2-way radio for the emergency management,
Right.
OEM officer.
So there's connectivity between storms.
Anybody else from the public? With that, I'll close the public meeting. Motion?
Move.
Second.
Roll call?
Committee McNown,
Deputy Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Fitzgerald,
Say it again?
Mike, say.
Yes.
Committee McNown,
Yes.
Committee Barnwell,
Yes.
Mayor Warner.
Yes.
Good.
Nobody do salary? No.
Thanks, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike. So moved.
Yes.
No.
We just don't know.
Ordinance 2016-10, an ordinance entitled 2016 Salary Ordinance for the Township of Tulsa Neck. This is the second reading. Any comments? No. Open it to the public.
Oh, is the open comment time?
No, this is just for the salary ordinance.
Oh, sorry.
What are you, in a rush?
No, standing in the place.
Close. Motion.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Committee McNown,
Yes.
Committee Barnwell.
Yes.
Mayor Warner.
Yes. Administrator.
Nothing really new to report, just follow up from last time, the FEMA submission for our hopeful reimbursement in connection with the winter storm. That is taking place, our first draft. So it's been submitted, we're now, waiting for a response in terms of the edits and additional information that they need. And as you noticed, the cleanup day flyers did go out last week in connection with the cleanup day scheduled for June 11th. Thank you. Other than that, nothing new to report.
Thank you. What are you doing here? All right. Motion to approve the vouchers.
I reviewed, in the deputy mayor's absence tonight, I reviewed the vouchers with the exception of two, which I had a conflict, and I found them to all be in order. I had a question on one that was resolved with respect to the repair of a piece of equipment. I'm actually do a little bit of follow-up on that piece of DPW equipment. And I know Committee and Bartlett will review the two with which I had a conflict. So with that, I ask that they be approved.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Committee McNown,
Yes.
Committee Barnwell,
Yes.
Mayor Warner.
Yes. Township committee reports. You want to start?
Yeah, not a lot to report on the COA front, just a quick update on that. On the litigation front, again, a lot of legalese going on. There is an issue pending in the appellate division out of Ocean County that affects everybody, meaning everybody, every municipality in the state conceivably. And the Monmouth County judge has agreed to stay the Monmouth County cases pending disposition of that appeal. I understand that that appeal is on for oral argument in the appellate division on June 6th, if I remember correctly. Should be decided by the end of June. I bet a penny, again, I always say I'm not a gambling man, but I'll bet my penny that whoever loses that is going to the Supreme Court. So my guess is that'll get stayed further. And that's just one of many legal issues that will likely, if this remains in the court system, there'll be many legal issues. This happens to be a fairly substantial one because it impacts again, for everybody that's been here and or was at the bigger meeting, I call it the numbers game, the number of affordable housing units that may be attributable to each municipality. It will have a direct impact on that. And so the experts have taken a position that they can't give an updated number, if you will, pending disposition of that appeal. Somebody really wants to talk about it, I'd be happy to talk about it offline to the extent that you can understand it, because they're talking about a period what they call the gap period. It's a period of time where there was nothing being done, and the question is whether municipalities should get credit for that time period, or whether they should be charged back for that time period for the units that they had in play at that time. So, other than that, experts' reports are still being compiled. I think we have 5, I believe. 5 experts outstanding. Don't have any final reports yet. No rush at this point, so we're not rushing them. If you remember, there was a point in time where we thought we were going to have a June something, late June trial date. It turns out that is not going to happen for the reasons that I just said. So the pressure is off a little bit. We'd rather them take their time and get it right than be rushed out the door. But we'll keep you updated in that regard as well. We're hopeful that there will be activity on the legislative front. I continue to be in contact with our senator, and we're hopeful that there'll be some activity on that front. The legislative term is going to run out at the end of June. Hopefully it will happen before then. Something, maybe, hopefully. But we're keeping up the pressure on both ends. And that's really it on COI. I wish I could tell you more, but in this particular case, I think no news is kind of good news. So hopefully a lot more to tell you in 2 weeks, at least on the legislative front. On the judicial front, I don't think you'll hear more in 2 weeks. I think you're going to have to wait till at least the end of June to the appellate division rules on the one particular issue and see how that impacts the numbers. That's it for me. No other than I did, but I didn't know news. Another one from the back. I did. Oh, you have to make an order next meeting? Or no? Okay, one second. Did I talk about that last time? Did I talk about that?
I just don't remember.
No, I can't.
Our next meeting.
It is, it's a Saturday. One second. Yeah, the 21st. Community garden dedication, library 3 o'clock. I think I talked about it last time. Okay, good. Sometimes I forget those things, but I talked about it. Nice that somebody's actually really committed to doing that community garden, and there's people committed to actually using the community garden, which is really nice. So if you're around, especially those on the first aid squad, they can literally walk there, stop by, say hello. It's former Mayor Dacus is doing the wall. That's running. She's doing a great job. Yeah.
Mr. Man. Let me go through my notes that I have. Okay. Good job. Okay. Good evening. Sports. Tony Garrido Memorial Home Run Derby, 6/11. Blue Claws, Colts Next Sports Foundation sponsored. They had 200 people go last year, 400 people expected to go this year, 6/14. Those meetings are getting interesting. There are some town members asking for some improvements at some of the fields. We are trying to accommodate on 2 fronts, and the ad hoc committee is still in the review process. So some stuff is percolating there. I think everyone has the right drive, meaning they all want the same thing. It's just a matter of getting it done. Senior citizens, still looking for participation on their president and vice president level. Those gentlemen will be resigning, and they're having a hard time having a few people raise their hands. They're at 267 members. 19 members did not renew this year, whether that was for health reasons or otherwise. They happen to be doing a review of their club of bylaws, and they're going to be revamping some things. So stay tuned to the senior citizens if you attend those meetings. There should be some things coming down the pipe over there. The first aid squad met with last night. I explained to them that we're going to be postponing the pavement, and I have put in a request for the relining of the parking lot, while the other improvements to get that parking lot up to speed will be requested. Historical preservation. Weekend in Monmouth was a big hit. Several hundred people came through Montrose School over 2 days. I spoke with Frank Rizzuto. I swung by for about maybe 15 minutes. I had a bunch of commitments that day. He said it was very nicely attended throughout the county. A lot of people were speaking about it. Obviously, I want to thank the Laird family. They donated a lot of their memorabilia to be on display. Their monthly meeting was postponed until next Monday. If anyone wants to come, we'd love to have you. The grant is postponed until next month. They're in the process. They just hired another second or third property manager in very short order. And the Board of Ed, the budget was adopted, roughly $22 million. Their budget is on their website. Please feel free to go to the Colts Next School website, and it's posted right in the center of the page. That's it for me.
I had CNBA today. Like, you know, they're gonna host the fireworks, so they'd like people to show up. I think the Lions Club is gonna help them also. So we'll get out that night. It's gonna be Sunday, July 3rd, not the 4th. Get out there and support them. We had planning board last night. Just one from preliminary to final approval. There's some conditions as usual, so they have to adopt them and straighten them out. And other than that, that was about it for me. Comments from the public?
I'm sorry. Disregard.
Comments from the public. Everyone, the public is free to voice their opinions of any viewpoint regarding any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents and of the municipality. So yes, now you may start.
Not to belabor the Laird Road issue, but for those of us that drive that road up until and when it is fixed, it's an obstacle course. We either go all the way to the right or to the left. The left is oncoming traffic, so the right is usually where you go on till people go. If the public works can please trim some of those really overhanging bushes
Where
on those curves on Laird
Right.
Road.
I don't know if you noticed, but the county just finished Muhlenberg Road today.
Did they? Yeah.
And they widened it out. It looks like a super highway down there now. They cut all the trees back. So, and they cut a couple on Laird, but we're going to get them to look at the rest of that before we do it, because there's no use doing it paving it unless we're going to get it cleaned up.
Oh, I know, because they're all overhanging.
I know. But that's where the other money's going for our, that we thought we had extra. I mean, that trimming job was $14,000 to do that street, and we had a few extras, so I don't even know what the bill's going to come in at.
Okay.
All right? Anyone else? Mr. Sawyer.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Jeff Sauter, 41 Ann Street, Colts Neck. First, a couple of things here, but first, as it relates to that public notice on the public comment section that you just read out, thank you for finally doing that. I know it took more than 6 meetings and another phone call from the ACLU to make sure you guys abide by our settlement agreement. So thanks for finally doing one of the 3 things that you guys are obligated to do. That cost, unfortunately, the taxpayers through the end of February not less than, and likely more, $9,600. And I'm sure this phone call from the ACLU to give you a professional courtesy probably cost another couple $100 to the taxpayers to just get you guys moving along, which to me is kind of surprising because there's 5 attorneys that sit up at that table and one astute businessman that sits up there too. And everyone seemed to miss the details of that settlement agreement. It makes me wonder, like you said, Mayor, when we were executing that agreement, something to the effect of, what's this to you or what's this going to get you? Well, apparently nothing, because you guys did nothing up until now, until you finally had to do something based on that ACLU push there. So I don't think you guys are so open to what you agreed upon that, yeah, being free and open for anyone in the public to make their statements, especially if they're criticizing you guys or pointing out things. You're not open to that. The second thing I wanted to talk about was the road improvements, the ordinance, which was agenda item number 4, a little over $800,000. If I recollect correctly, because I was talking to Mike Burke, the other day, he brought it up to me about how much was in the capital funding for road improvements. I believe at the time, it was roughly 2.2 was the initial, and then issues came up with the police department that approximately maybe, $500,000 was needed. I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just kind of my recollection right now. And I see that you did what you're calling phase 1 of roughly 800,000. What's the second phase going to be approximately, or what do you think it's going to be approximately?
I explained that when we said it. We spent, the first bids came in at 827,000. The next set of streets now are going to go, we're doing that side because of the DOT, because of Laird Road, because it was part of that money.
That's not what I'm asking, I understand that.
The specific roads or the?
No, I'm not asking about the specific road, I'm just asking how much money, because when another fellow resident
We
was
said
asking,
$2,240,000.
pardon me?
I think roughly
Yeah.
phase 1 and phase 2 would be, we had anticipated, and again, it's a guesstimate for the
Yeah.
most part, based on, professional engineers' best guess. Until you go out for bid, obviously, we wouldn't know exactly. But roughly $1 million each for phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 came in at 800 and some change, so we're feeling good about that. Some of the bids were over $1 million, but the lowest bidder was 800,000.
Yeah.
So we anticipate phase 2,
Yeah,
we're
that-
hopeful that we're going out thinking $1 million, maybe it'll come in at 800,000. That's why the mayor indicated we may have some additional monies to do some of the other projects that didn't make the initial phase 1, phase 2
Yeah.
list.
I just wanted to be clear with that, and there's no reason, Mayor, to get short with me. I just want to be clear so the residents of this town here, as well as some residents here, even asked about the roads. And I know this can's been kicked down the road, and I just want to make sure we all understand that roads are a major issue in this town. We just want to be clear, it's taxpayer money being spent here, and we just want to be clear. That's it. I'm not trying to be argumentative here. The other issue that I wanted to talk about was the assessment demonstration program. I know when that kind of first hit the deck, the committee, and I think particularly your committeeman, Michael Fitzgerald, expressed some major reservations. And I'm not going to put words into his mouth, but I think he expressed major reservations, as well as maybe other members and maybe committeeman Mac now did as well, about the program. Are you guys aware that there's an opt-out for that?
Sure.
Okay, do you know what the deadline is for that opt-out?
It's been used.
It's been extended. Yeah, we don't have any plans on opting out.
Okay, that's my question, because the deadline was it was reported in the newspaper here,
I think it got extended.
May 31st was the deadline that they reported. I don't know if that's the
I think
extension?
that's the extended.
Okay.
I think it was originally in April, and I think it's extended. Well, here's,
And some-
again, fair question, reasonable question. The program was very controversial at the time, more by the way it was implemented than it actually turned out for us. So in some here was the big deal. The big deal was in towns that had not undergone a reval in some time, the impact of the sudden reval was dramatic in some cases. So in some municipalities, you were seeing property taxes going up 20%, just astronomical numbers. We had done a reval just 2 years before that. So we never really saw that. And in fact, except for maybe a handful, maybe not even, maybe a couple of people, I didn't even hear anything from any residents personally, and I don't think any of the other committeemen did either. Just a couple of people, but because we had just undergone a reval, the numbers were not very dramatic for us because they were up to date. So, at least, again, I
Some
think,
people went up, some people went down.
which is going to happen in any reval year, but now, going forward, once that initial impact, the initial impact was the bad part, and where you heard some municipalities really get upset because of those dramatic increases in some cases. For instance, in Marlboro, I know I talked to the Marlboro mayor, in one of the retirement communities, they got killed. And, obviously that can't happen. So that was a mistake, a legislative mistake, really. They should have capped the increase. And I think they're trying to fix that in the statute. But in Colstec, we didn't have that. And again, I'm really speaking for myself, but maybe for the other guys as well. The idea of keeping the revals on a yearly basis, with the 20% inspections on an annual basis, I think ultimately will do well for us. Economically, it's going to be a wash one way or the other. I mean, as far as what we're paying, we're not going to be paying much more one way or the other. But you're never going to see at that 10-year mark a dramatic increase or decrease because it's being looked at every year. And that, I think, is going to be a net benefit to the town, to have that not happen. So, just hypothetically, if we're 8 years, so by law, we're required to reval every 10 years. So if we did the reval 2 years ago, and we were up for one in 8 years, now who knows what the market condition is going to be in 8 years, right? They could be really good, they could be really bad. If they're really good, you can see people with dramatic increases in the valuation of their property. So people that came in 2007 or in a downtime, bought cheap, or bought a foreclosure, or whatever the case, in 8 years, they could get really a substantial increase. And I don't think with this program you're going to see that, which is really kind of the idea, I think, in the first place. But the problem was, and I think it's something for others to deal with, was the way it was implemented and who was involved, and we'll let those folks take care of that aspect of it. That's really not for us. We think, generally speaking, this is a good thing for the town right now. It has not had a dramatic impact. I think that the long-range effect will be a positive effect for the town.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I can add, I was at a conference last week, like business administrators in other municipalities statewide, but many from Monmouth County. And most of the conversation has been, not unlike what Commissioner Macno has just shared, many municipalities, with the exception of, I think, a handful of the 55 some odd municipalities in Monmouth County, are not opting out. As a matter of fact, Shrewsbury just opted back in. So I think there's, a little bit of a wait and see, and we've taken the position, right now, it's about impact to Holtznet. That's the first and foremost criteria of assessment for us. As a matter of fact, talked to our assessor again today, and his recommendation to myself as administrator, I think to the township committee, would be to, right now, on May 10th or May 11th, not make a move towards opting out.
And the other thing we wanted to look at was the impact on we have a part-time tax assessor. We didn't want to kill him either. Fortunately, he's a young guy, fairly sophisticated on the computer, and so he's handling it just fine. That was another thing that we had to look at, because obviously we didn't want to increase the expense of the town. We didn't want to have to bring in a second guy or a full-time guy to handle it, and it turns out it's not going to be the case. So it actually wound up being fairly benign for us. Can't speak for other municipalities, but for us it wound up being fairly benign.
The other thing is, we're already 2 years done, so we got 40% done of the 10.
From inspections,
From inspections, so we only got, this year it'll be another 20%, so we'll be over the hump after this year.
Right, but yeah, but we're not expecting, even with the inspections, any dramatic swings. Unless somebody put which you all know because probably need a variance in this town, but unless somebody put a substantial addition onto the house in the last couple of years, or did something substantial, you're not going to see a big variation. And if you did, you have to expect an increase. So.
I appreciate your response on this, because I know it shifted from when, as you explained, when the program first came out and your serious reservations, and now I understand, and I'm sure members of the public also understand why, if they read the same article like that, I read, that lands at the end of my driveway, it usually goes into the garbage. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was the public hearing that you announced last meeting. And I'll preface this with, everyone probably knows I'm related to the police chief, so I know you'll likely discount what I'm about to say. Similar to when I make Oprah requests and the state finds you in violation of Oprah, somehow I guess I'm to blame because I guess I made the Oprah request. So you can blame it on me because I'm related to the chief, but I went to that hearing like 1 or 2 or 3 other members of the public did here, because it was a public hearing. And yes, the final decision still needs to be ruled, and there's maybe going to be more to this public hearing that was like as your attorney, John Bennett, there indicated at the last meeting, it's kind of like a trial, I guess, witnesses being called and stuff. So I don't know if it's going to continue or not, or do I really care? But what I heard, I'll say this, 2 things, is if those allegations are true about Committeeman Macnow falsifying or lying on that certification, then I would expect his resignation as a committeeman.
Are you making an accusation?
No, I'm just reporting what was said in that public hearing.
Okay, you making an accusation.
And
That's what I would like to know.
if you don't willingly want to resign,
Are you making an accusation?
then Mayor, I would expect
Are you
you.
making an accusation
Okay.
to demand that I resign?
The only thing,
Are you gonna answer my question?
if,
Or are you gonna babble?
no, I'm not going to babble.
You're babbling.
No, would you let me answer?
Yeah, are you making an accusation?
Are you going to let me answer?
I'm answering
I'm not going to get into an argument with you.
I'm not arguing with you. I want to know if you're
Okay.
accusing me of something so I can take appropriate legal action.
No, because I'm only reporting on what was said.
I don't need you to report to me anything.
Okay.
Are you accusing me of something?
You heard what I said.
Are you making an accusation? I want to know
Okay?
that.
You heard what I said.
So you're not making an accusation?
I'm not making an accusation. I'm
Okay.
just reporting on what was
For the benefit of
said
all
at
these
that
people.
public hearing.
Okay.
For the benefit of the people,
Right.
most of the people that were not present at that hearing. But I will say this too, as I understand it, you guys changed the organization in which the chief reports to you guys. And that's your prerogative. You did that. I'll just say this, is that it's an unfortunate shame that none of you guys had the courage to go to this hearing as his boss, as the chief's boss, to face him. You know, there's a gentleman that I know, a good friend who lives in the city, William Fraser, Fraser. He'd always say, courage of leadership. That's one thing I can definitely conclude right now, you guys don't have.
For the record, we
Thank
didn't
you.
go on the advice of counsel. Mr. Sawyer, thank you for your...
Thank you.
All right? So if you think we don't have courage, you're mistaken. Any day, any time, you bring your brother in here, we'll talk to him. Any day.
It was
If
a
you're
pu-
speaking for him, bring him in.
Okay, I'm not speaking for him.
Well, you
Thank-
sound like you're speaking
thank-
for him.
Thank you.
Are you his representative?
I'm speaking as a resident of this town
Hardly.
and a public hearing
Hardly.
that I went to.
Hardly.
I prefaced the whole thing, and no wonder why you're saying what you're saying. Thank you.
Hardly. You're speaking for your brother. We all know it. All these people know it.
Are you finished?
So let me ask you a question. So I don't have the courage to face your brother, but I do have the courage to face you.
Yeah.
Right? Are you accusing me of lying under oath?
I'm not
Say it.
accusing you of lying under oath.
Say it. Go ahead.
I
You
just
wanna
did.
Say it. Go ahead and say
I
it.
just did.
You're not making the accusation.
I'm not making the accusation that you lied under oath.
Good. Sit down. Sit down. Or we'll ask to have you removed.
I'm just going to stand in the corner, and
We're done.
no one's blocking me. I mean, I'm not in anyone's way.
Enough.
Those are public comments.
Do you have something else to ask? We
No,
can't do it.
thank you. My question
Oh,
was
no.
just.
We can't do it. Sorry. We don't have a quorum. Sorry.
So, in as much as they no longer is a quorum of the governing body, I'm sorry, we can't only go, the meeting is, as a matter of law, is adjourned. I'm trying to tell that phone to be quiet. And so the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all very much for coming tonight. If there are any questions that you wish to ask the mayor or the committeemen on an individual basis, you're more than happy to do so. But it will no longer be part of the record because the meeting, no longer does the governing body have a quorum.